and I will be brief. I just want to congratulate Kenny and his family. His mom and dad obviously are with us, and what I have here is it's called a Certificate of Special Congressional Recognition, and it's presented to you, Kenny, and it's because of your attainment of your Eagle Scout, which is quite an accomplishment, and there's also a letter here that says various things. And some of the things that it says in here is the fact that how difficult it is to get your Eagle Scout. And I know that firsthand because I tried to get my Eagle Scout. I tried to get elected to Congress. I got elected to Congress. I never got my Eagle Scout. So that tells you how challenging it is, and you got it, and I didn't. My older brother did. But as I was telling Kenny, I swim like a rock, and you needed life-saving merit badge back in the day. And you know, it's just, I think this is one of the highest honors that a person can attain, is receiving their Eagle, because it's a lot of work, and it really is a family accomplishment. So your mom and dad deserve a heck of a lot of credit, as does your Scoutmaster, because I know that there are several others in your troop that are also in line to accomplish this as well, and that's pretty extraordinary. And so I want to congratulate you, I want to congratulate your parents, your whole troop really, for the accomplishment that you have attained by getting your Eagle. So I will leave this with you here, and I want to tell you congratulations, and I wish you everything, all the best for the future, Kenny.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That means everything.
Yeah, sure. Maybe we'll get why don't we get a picture with Mom and Dad if we can?
Absolutely. Matt is going to talk about the trail to Eagle Scout. So, Matt, he's also our troop chairman, really chairman.
This is the voice of the eagle whose heights you struggled to reach. We remember well when you first came to the base of the cliff, and how you looked up with ambition and determination. Let's look back at the experiences you have encountered in your ascent. The experience should not be forgotten. Experience is a valuable teacher if you heed its teaching. We remember when you took your first step upon the trail upward. With your first step, you began living the Scout Oath and Law. While you were on the trail, we watched you study, and we watched you learn by doing. First, you were only a candidate, building yourself physically, mentally, and morally. Then your brother scouts called you a tenderfoot. And they were right. You were indeed a tenderfoot. But not for long. Soon you reached the first ledge, where you were greeted by a group of second-class scouts. Some, like you, were stopping to catch their breath before continuing along the Eagle Trail. You began to study more, you worked harder, and almost before you knew it, you came to another ledge. The ledge where first-class scouts dwell. There you found a tempting green meadow by a crystal-clear stream, bathed in the sun. Here you were tempted to remain. Yes, you could have remained there to live in first-class glory, but your ambition stirred you on. We remember your progress to Star Scout. You found the trail from first class had been an optical illusion, not as difficult as it had seemed. This spurred you on, and again you climbed higher. The trail was steeper, it was less worn. Fewer scouts seemed to be heading in your direction. You looked back and saw the crowds below you. You looked up and saw the few above you. With the same determination with which you started your climb, you continued your trail. So on, it was the badge of Life Scout, the heart badge that was placed on your uniform. You will never forget the thoughts in your heart. It has been experienced by most scouts on reaching the ledge of life. Now I am close to Eagle. I will carry on. The trail became tougher, but more interesting. The original simple principles of Scout Oath and Law now had fuller meaning. Your understanding of them was greater. Yes, we have watched your character unfold. We have watched your leadership ability expand into a valuable asset. We have watched your mind develop and your wisdom increase. We have watched all these things in you. Now that you are at the threshold of your goal, we welcome you, for you have done your climbing in true scout-like manner.
Thank you, Matt. Now, I would like to bring Sean Richards up, and Sean is going to talk about the responsibilities of an Eagle Scout. Sean? He's also Assistant Scoutmaster with the troop.
I believe that this candidate should understand that the Eagle rank is a big responsibility, as well as an honor. The first responsibility of an Eagle Scout is to live with honor, which to an Eagle is sacred. Honor is the foundation of character. It is what a person really is down inside, not what someone may think he is. An Eagle will live so as to reflect credit upon his home, church, school, friends, upon scouting, and upon himself. May the white of your Eagle badge always remind you to live with honor. The second responsibility of an Eagle Scout is loyalty. For without loyalty, character lacks direction. An Eagle is loyal to his ideals. May the blue of your Eagle badge always remind you to be loyal. The third responsibility of an Eagle Scout is courage. Courage gives character, force, and strength, trusting in God and with faith for his fellow man. The Eagle faces each day unafraid and seeks his share of the world's work. May the red of your Eagle badge always remind you of courage. The final responsibility of an Eagle Scout is service. He extends a helping hand to those who toil up the scouting trail he has completed, just as others helped him in his achievement to Eagle rank. The habit of the daily good turn must take on a new meaning and blossom forth into life of service. The Eagle protects and defends the weak and the helpless. He aids and comforts the oppressed and the unfortunate. He upholds the rights of others while defending his own. His code of honor is based upon the belief that leadership is founded upon real service. Kenny, are you willing to accept these responsibilities?
I am.
Thank you, Sean. At this time, I would like to bring up Anthony Yingling, who is a fellow scout of Kenny's and also an Eagle Scout, and he's going to administer the Eagle Scout oath.
As this candidate takes this pledge for the first time, will those Eagle Scouts who are present in the audience please stand and reaffirm their pledge? I pledge my allegiance, or please repeat after me. I pledge my allegiance.
Scout sign, sorry.
Yeah, Scout sign. I pledge my allegiance
I pledge my allegiance
to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
I will do my best to do my duty to God, my country, and obey the Scout law.
I will do my best to do my duty to my God, my country, and the Scout Oath.
I will help other people at all times.
I will help other people at all times.
I will keep myself physically strong.
I will keep myself physically strong.
I will keep myself mentally awake and morally straight.
I will keep myself mentally awake and morally straight.
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself
the obligations and responsibilities of the rank of Eagle Scout.
the obligations and responsibilities of the rank of Eagle Scout.
I will at all times do my best
I will at all times do my best
to assist other scouts climbing the Eagle Trail,
to assist other scouts in climbing the Eagle Trail,
especially those of my own troop.
especially those of my own troop.
I will help build America on the solid foundation
I will help build America on a solid foundation
of clean living, honest work, and reverence to God.
of clean living, honest work, and reverence to God.
I promise to make my training an example,
I promise to make my training an example,
my rank and my influence
my rank and my influence
count strongly for better scouting
count strongly for better scouting,
and for better citizenship in my family,
for better citizenship in my family,
my church, community, and country,
my church, community, and country,
and with my contacts with all people.
and with my contacts with all people.
I realize that the Eagle rank
I realize that the Eagle rank
is not the end, but the beginning.
is not the end, but the beginning.
To this I pledge my sacred honor.
To this I pledge my sacred honor. Thank you, Anthony. All right, at this time, I would like to call Eric and Farrell up to the front of the room. Will you please come up? So at this time, we're going to present the badges and the pins. So, Kenny, in recognition of the wisdom and guidance given to you by your father, will you present to him his Eagle Dad pin, which he will be proud to wear in your honor? And now, also in recognition of the many hours, and I'm sure there are many, of the patience and guidance given by your mother and her efforts, would you pin this from your mother? Give her her mother pin, her Eagle Mom pin. The symbol of your success is the Eagle Badge, which I now have given to your father, and Eric, will you in turn pin the badge over Ken's heart? I'll do it right there on the top. That's fine. Now, Mom, if you would remove Kenny's neckerchief, and we're going to dress him in this eagle neckerchief. Looks good on you, doesn't it? All right. Now, would everyone please rise by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the National Council of Boy Scouts of America, I hereby present my newest Eagle Scout, Kenny Lynch. All right. You can be seated if you'd like. You get to stay up. So now, everybody may be seated. Thank you. I would like to bring up Karen Everett from the Daughters of the American Revolution, who has a special presentation for Kenny.
All right. I'm Karen Everett with the Cincinnati chapter Daughters of the American Revolution. I'm pleased to be here this afternoon to present Kenny with a certificate and a pin for his work in plotting, gridding, and mapping out records at the Bethel Cemetery here in Cheviot so that others can trace their history. The original records were lost years ago in a fire. This award is given for voluntary community service to the city of Cheviot. The Cincinnati chapter would like to show their appreciation for such hard work and dedication for this type of historic preservation and interest in our community. Thank you for outstanding work. And there is the certificate, and I have a pin.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again. Thank you. Thank you very much. You do, please come up. State your name and your purpose, please.
Hi, I'm Kathy Godel.
For everybody else.
I'm Kathy Godel, and I'm the co-chair of the Cheviot Bicentennial Committee. I'm a former past council person, and I just want to say what a lovely young man you have. We started out the bicentennial year with the idea that we were going to try to get all ages involved in it. And when it came to what are we going to do with the teenagers, we want something specific for them. And a Boy Scout leader at Cheviot School, I discussed it with him, and he said, I'll find you someone. Next thing you know, I get a phone call about your son. And we started off with one project, realized it wasn't gonna work. He shifted gears, what else you got? So I put him with Mr. Rich Martin and Mr. Greg Kissel, and they supervised him to taking on this project, which is invaluable to the city. Our forefathers are buried in that cemetery. But over time, as the lady said, we lost a lot of records, not through our fault, but the people who owned the cemetery at that time. So in honor of the bicentennial, they thought it'd really be a neat idea if they could do a grid and try to place everybody who's buried in the cemetery, whether they had a tombstone or not. Kenny took it on. He had other guys underneath him. The community helped out. He got pizza from NYPD Pizza, and the Eagles helped him out, and it really was a labor of love. And he presented it to the city at a council meeting. That's when he got his proclamation from the city to show how highly we think of him. And we couldn't be more proud. And the mayor, unfortunately, is out of town, or he would be here. And again, just thank you for a wonderful young man. I want to give you a hug.
Can you put that down?
Yeah.
Set that up here with everything else. So at this time, I'd like to bring Anthony up here because he has something to share. How did you want to do pictures? You want me to hold the camera, or hold the thing while we do this?
I don't know.
We're not
I
sure.
don't know.
We have pictures to go along with this to enhance its effectiveness.
I don't know.
In other words,
We'll be able to see it. So,
give us 1 second.
good afternoon.
You ready for the first picture?
No.
Or? Okay.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Anthony Engling, and I am part of the 2017 class of Eagle Scouts, having earned the prestigious award through Troop 660. I've known Kenny since he joined the troop in June of 2013. If I remember correctly, Kenny was a little shy at first, but as we befriended him, that all started to change. We began to notice how funny and weird he really was. He's always active in the troop, going on many campouts and day activities, and is always there to help lighten the mood with his witty remarks. If you haven't heard already, Kenny has a nickname in the troop. Ourselves, as well as Kenny, have taken this nickname to the full extent. Starting off as a joke, this simple name has now evolved into Kenny's alter ego. Now, for those of you who don't know this other side of Kenny, you may be saying to yourself, just tell us the name already. Don't worry, I will, right after this short backstory. Back on Saturday, the 16th of April in the year 2016, Kenny's unknown second identity emerged and showed itself to the world. We were camping in Camp Freelander for a weekend, planning our route for the Klondike event that our troop would be hosting in January 2017. On Saturday morning, when we were preparing for our trek around the camp, I decided to pull out my camera and snap a few pictures. It will be a moment in my life that I will never regret. After taking a series of photos, I began looking through them. That's when I came across an interesting photo. When cropping the image around Kenny, I came to the realization that I had captured him mid-stride. My first thought when I saw this was, he's walking like Bigfoot, which can also be called a Sasquatch. That will be important later. If you don't remember the famous image of a possible Bigfoot caught on camera back in 1967, here it is to refresh your memory. Now let's look at a side-by-side.
That's great.
I rest my case. But this is just the beginning. Having shot this photo in the morning, most of us, including Kenny, wait, there's still one more picture.
Is there one more picture?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, okay. Sorry.
Having shot this in the morning, most of us, including Kenny, still had our just woke up eyes on. Next, I decided to zoom in on Kenny's face because, you know, sometimes we have weird facial expressions. What I discovered changed our whole outlook on life. And that's the picture. The word I used to describe Kenny's face in the photo is dirt. The word dirt means foolish or awkward. That is exactly why I chose it. Now, combining Kenny's Sasquatch stride in with the picture of his dirt face, that is how his nickname came to be. And so his new name that we presented to Kenny was the Derp Squatch. From then on, it became his alter ego and second personality. As mentioned previously, we took his name and the jokes to follow to the extreme. The first one that we started off with to remember this historical moment was when we named April 16th as Derp Squatch Day, as well as labeling the month of April as Derp Squatch Awareness Month. In the following months, we made him into a legend that will never die. The most prominent of times when we really tried to figure out how to make Kenny famous was to track his every move when we took our week-long trip to Washington, D.C. back in June of 2016. This series of pictures is of our time out there where Derp Squatch is discovering our past.
I'm trying to go through these things. Wait, hold it. Why did we go to that one? Help me out here. Hit enter. No. It's not the one. Okay.
So we have pictures of him at the National Archives.
So you're walking up the.
Yeah, he was walking up the stairs.
We got a blank in here somewhere. Are they not? Or they're not found. What's it doing here?
Maybe it's not open.
Yeah. Is Josh's hotspot going out?
Yeah, I think it did.
Ah.
I'm not.
Is your hotspot gone?
Phone's dead.
Darn! No! No, we can't!
Hold on. I have one. Hey, you can use mine.
Save.
Technology.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. How do we get that back up here?
I need Wi-Fi. I mean, if you have a hotspot.
Yeah. There it is. Let's see if Scott can get this going. We're working again.
Alright, so up here, so you're close.
So I'm gonna try to see if I can't do this without getting in the way of everything. That's him in the yellow shirt.
So we have him at the National Archives. Then we have him at the National Air and Space Museum looking at some missiles. We have him at the National Museum of Natural History, the FDR Memorial. There were pictures in there of him chasing a pigeon, but I don't think they're on there anymore.
I have one of those.
There are, I don't know.
I'm kind of going through them. It's hard to see what we need.
That's him on the subway.
Yeah. He's always got this serious look on his face.
That's him eating pancake batter.
Go back. Go back. There he is chasing the pigeon.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Derp Squatch was a friend of nature. So, but he this trip, I was going through the pictures, and he's got this look on his face, like this serious look, and I'm just sitting there laughing because he's never like that. He was just doing that just for the camera.
So we have all those pictures from DC. The most embarrassing part for not only Kenny, but ourselves as well, was when we were riding the subway one day in DC, and we decided to start the conversation of merchandising for the Derp Squatch. We talked of t-shirts, hats, action figures, board games, decks of cards with his face on it, even filming a documentary. Now that I'm thinking of it, we can make a Derp Squatch video game too. That entire time, we were laughing our faces off on the subway. Every single other person there was probably in the most uncomfortable situation of their life. It was even more embarrassing now when we think about it than at the time. One last thing about the Derp Squatch is that he has a website. And
Let me see, oh, there he is at the FDR one. Yeah, he's doing his animated self.
And then-
These, my photos.
So
there it is.
that's the homepage for his website.
Which Anthony created.
Yes.
I don't even knew this existed.
So that's the story of the Derp Squatch. Kenny, we're glad that you have become a memorable part of our lives. Don't worry, I'm almost done speaking, but before that, I need to at least talk about the rank of Eagle Scout, which is the whole reason for this ceremony. The rank of Eagle Scout is the highest award in the Boy Scout program. It signifies one's ability to lead, teach, be trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. It shows determination to not only help better oneself, but also to help better the people and the community around them. Derp Squatch, congratulations and welcome to the class of Eagle Scouts.
So there's the history behind this that you saw. That photo that's up right now, I guess we probably ought to talk about that. One night after we got done with parking at the Hamilton County Fair, we went out to eat at Skyline. And did you put the hot sauce on it? Did we get you to do that?
Yeah, we got him to put a hot sauce on it.
Okay, and he takes a bite of this thing, and he makes this comment. So you'll have to help me if he says, I'm gonna have to take my tongue to the emergency room because he just got hit by Captain Punch. The hot sauce was messed him up. And it's stuff like that that's made me different and it's been a lot of fun. So what I would like to say is every once in a while, a scout comes along that impacts you in a different way. Kenny is one of those scouts. And when he came to the troop, he was actually invited by Tajay, who was here today for him. And there was another kid that joined the troop at the exact same time who was more vocal and more outgoing. I mean, shook your hand really good. And to be honest, I thought they both could be Eagle Scouts. To be honest, I thought Andrew had a better chance than you. But Andrew left the troop about 2 years later. Kenny got his Eagle. Proved me wrong. And boy, was I wrong. Thank you for making me wrong. And the interesting thing is Kenny never went to Cub Scouts. Never was involved. Didn't know anything about Boy Scouts, wasn't involved in Boy Scouts till he came to our troop at the age of 13. And that's very unusual because most kids will not join at that age. Kenny did. So his first camp out was actually a week-long summer camp. It was the very first one he did. And but he always participated in the camp outs. But that first week, I admired him for taking that on. So, as Anthony explained in that picture, there was a change in his personality. Something happened that day when that picture came out, and this guy wasn't the same. His determination was there, okay? And all these pictures that you've seen are after the first infamous Derp Squatch photo or sighting, okay? And this is also a time when he came to me and said, I want to be an Eagle Scout. And not only for himself, but for his dad. And he had this look in his eye that scouts get when they say, I want to be an Eagle Scout. And his conversation changed from, I would like to, I might, to, I'm going to. And at that point, I knew he was ready to make that final trail. And so, as they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. and we've been all kind of mentoring him in this process. There was a couple other pictures. I got to share a few stories about camping. You know what? We can probably let them go, but I got to talk about this. There's a couple of things I got to share with you about this guy. First of all, Kenny has a unique relationship with wasp on campouts. Okay? Some of you know these stories. For those of you who don't, for those who do, indulge me here, but I have to tell these stories. The very first time I encountered this was that I remember was in Indiana, correct?
Yep.
We were on a hike, and we stopped for lunch, and he's sitting there eating his lunch. I had him on the backpack, so we packed our lunch in, and he's eating, and this wasp flies into the pocket of his backpack, and he zips the pocket shut and kind of punches the pocket like he's going to kill the wasp. Forgets all about it. We finish up our lunch, everything. We get back to camp. 10 o'clock that night, we're all sitting and relaxing, and all of a sudden he comes screaming out of his tent. He unzipped that pocket. That wasp flew out and bit him, stung him in the lip. Now, he zipped that thing up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So this is almost 9 hours later. And so it was like, this wasp was determined. Well, the funny thing was, I tell my wife this story, and the very next day on the internet, you get that picture? This picture shows up to her on Facebook. Wasp can remember faces.
Oh my God.
I'm going to get it. Now, I don't know what put that together, but right after that, I get this. And I just thought that was just too funny. So, another camp out, we're up at Punderson State Park up in Cleveland, near Cleveland, and we're out riding bikes around, and we decide we're going to take a break. We're near some tennis courts, and Kenny sees a water fountain. He says, I'm going to go over and get a drink. It's like, sure, it's hot outside. He turns on the water fountain, water starts coming out, and all of a sudden, all these wasps start flying out, and one stings him again.
Oh my God.
And it's like, what are the chances of this? And didn't you get stung once at summer camp too?
Yeah, the wasp like.
Yeah. So if he hadn't joined scouting, he never would have gotten stung by a wasp. So now he knows. But it was just this has just been a recurring thing. The other recurring thing with him, and this happened it was just last year, wasn't it?
Oh.
This is too
Yes,
funny.
it was.
We go out to Hocking Hills for a camp out, and we're in one of the caves, and here comes a bride and groom down and into this cave. There's one that's like a half a mile from the parking lot. They're getting their pictures taken. So we decide what's going on here with him, and he walks around to the backside of this, and we photobomb the couple there with Kenny in the background.
No. Funny.
Funny thing is, we go on a camp out up at Woodland Trails Boy Scout Camp up near Eaton, Ohio, and we're out riding bikes around, and we come back, and there's a wedding going on at the Boy Scout camp. Somebody had reserved the old dining hall that was there. So what does he do? He walks all the way around to the backside of this thing. I get a photobomb of him with the couple, married couple in front. Again, so, and then out of Punderson, there was another wedding, but we didn't have an opportunity to get one done there. But it's funny, we had 3 weddings near our campouts in 1 year, but we got him pictured in that. And the one thing, and I don't know if we can show it, but Kenny was notorious for wearing this purple Macho Man shirt. He always had it on. Every Saturday on the camp out, he's got it on now. I figured so. The guy bleeds purple. In fact, he's purple inside and out. This was right after we ordered the slushie that had red and blue in it, so it turned his tongue all purple, so there's a picture of that. You probably could. Yeah, here's the wedding photo at Hocking Hills, and he just worked his way around.
Not anymore.
The one at Woodland Trails was even more. We were almost determined to get one at that one. So, but what are the chances? You're out in the middle of Hocking Hills and there's a wedding going
Was
on.
the other wedding.
So, and we also got him in front of a band out at, remember that one at the park?
Oh, yeah. When we were like,
Yeah, there's a band going on, so we had him walk in front of that. We got his picture of that. So this is the kind of fun that we've had with him since that photo was taken. And it's amazing how his attitude changed. And again, like I said, his mentality about scouting changed. And he's made scouting so much fun. In fact, he worked with diligence to earn the merit badges he needed, because now that his focus was there, he attended all the campouts to get those badges done. And when the opportunity came for the Eagle Project, he was ready for it and took advantage of it. And as it is with all the boys who come to the troop, it's been a pleasure to see him change, see him grow up. And Eric and Farrell, he's a wonderful young man. He's humble at heart, caring for others, and a great example. Excuse me, I said I wasn't going to do this. A great example of what an Eagle Scout should be. Okay, so I have one little story I wanted to share with you. Kenny, if I may. Oh, where's my book? Here it is. This is a book that I read every day, but there's one that's one of my favorites. And I think it kind of goes with what you do. And this guy writes in this thing, he says, on my way to work one morning, I had observed the result of a small little child's misfortune. A frosted cookie lay face down in the dirt. Upon closer inspection, I was amazed at the number of ants which hastily crawled around on the sweet. At first, I thought they moved randomly, but as I watched, I saw there was a great order to their movement. Each ant found a jagged corner, then worked diligently and broke off a piece it was after, usually a piece much bigger than the carrier itself, and moved on to a site in the nearby anthill. This went on endlessly, and the cookie shrank in size. A few hours later, as I walked past, the ant crew was just finishing up. The cookie was gone, miraculously pieced out, stored for a coming time of need. I thought of all the projects that I faced that seemed too large or impossible. I was ashamed that I couldn't even find myself the determination and drive of a small ant. You know what? Your determination was just as big as an ant's, but it was determined. So imagine what you could do in your life with that determination and that drive. I don't want you, Kenny, to ever forget what it took for you to get this badge, because I'm so happy that you got it. That effort is what's going to help you accomplish things in life. Okay? I shared this one with my sons when they got their Eagles, and I will tell you this: when it's time for you to do something, do it. When it's time for you to lead other people to do something, lead them. Okay? Congratulations. All right. So, I don't need to step off. I'm in charge of this thing, aren't I? Sort of. Okay. At this time, I'm giving the floor to you to do your mentor pins, your speech, and whatever you had in mind for this time and ceremony. So I give the floor to Kenny.
All right. For the mentor pins, I have 3 in mind. Will Matt Daly come up? Wanted to give you a mentor pin because you stayed with me for countless hours at the White Schoolhouse and did whatever it took for me to become Eagle, and that meant everything. So I'm going to give you a mentor pin.
Thank you, guys.
Put it right here.
Yeah.
I have another one that I wanted to give Mr. Yingling, Todd Yingling. It's honestly because of you that I got what got you. You coached me, you did whatever. Perhaps this one.
It's up to you.
Um,
It's my pleasure, Kenny.
you basically gave me the motivation to keep trying.
There was a lot of kicking, but it was worth it, and you know it was worth it. And I did it because I knew this is what you had to look forward to. So I'm proud to have done it, and I'm proud of you. Thank you. Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And the third one, I actually wanted to give to Sean Richards. When it comes to everything that happened with my project, when it comes to the city, when it came to figuring out all the measurements and whatnot, you are my go-to guy. I honestly don't think I could have done any of that without you. And you've honestly just been a close friend of mine ever since, like, we met in church. I wanted to give you. Thank you. Well, thank you so Can I give my speech?
It's yours. The floor is yours. You do whatever you want.
I wrote this. Might be a little corny, I don't know. I'm typically like that anyway. So, I just want to take the time to thank everybody here, also the city of Cheviot for allowing me, the city hall, to hold my ceremony and giving me one of the best Eagle projects I've ever heard of. All of you have helped me through this journey, either as a volunteer, coach, or supporting friend, and I don't know if I would be standing here today without you. Scouting has helped me so much. Since the last 5 years, I joined with little ambition and just wanted to see if I could handle it. Never would I have guessed that in just 5 years, I would be having an Eagle Court of Honor in the City Hall. I want to thank my mom and dad for supporting me and egging me on to do better, and in the end, I feel like that helped me the most of all. I also want to say thank you to my friend Dave Evans. He helped both days during my project, and I've considered him as a close friend in scouting, and I'll never forget the times we had. Again, thank you all so much for this.
All right, I think the thing we got left is the closing ceremony. I don't know what, if there's anything else you had in mind, if you didn't have anything before this.
No, I wanted to end it with my speaking.
Okay, then, I guess, we're smelling it. The pizza? I know you're smelling it. I'll let you wrap it up. Unless, because I don't have anything. Unless,
The closing flags.
you wanna take the flags down? Okay.
You come up.
Color guard? Color guard advance.
Super cool.
There's no sign there. I had one picture, that's at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Dave said, and I had thrown it in there, but they said that video I couldn't. Forgot about
It's still flying.
How did you want to say it?
Yeah.